Hi guys, welcome to the latest episode of Tinkle Meets A Dash, and today Tinkle is meeting a talk show host. Very meta, right? The talk show meets a talk show host. I'm very excited about this because evidently I don't know how to do this, so I've called in an expert, and that expert said he wasn't available, so I called Abish instead. Give it up for Abish Mathew, guys.
Yeah, got it up with Karan Johar and the couple Sharma, and they're like, yeah, Abish's number I can get.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much for coming and doing this with us. You are truly, you're not just a talk show host, right? You're so many more things. You've worn so many hats through your career so far. In fact, and I've told you this, the first time I heard of you was when I would go to work in Delhi and you would be chatting at me through my radio at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I'd be like, why is this guy so excited early in the morning? And so you've been an RJ, you've done comedy, you do stand-up comedy, you've been an actor, you've acted in films, and talk show host, and like you do a whole bunch of other stuff on the side. How does even one, like as a kid, did you think this is all the things I'm going to do? Do you have a list, like a bucket list of like career professions you'll try?
I think I had a lot of family support. I got a lot. Like my parents would just love to see me on stage, and the pride they felt vicariously because they might have wanted to do it was very evident. And same with my brother. But what happens is that either the family took up the responsibility of fiscal responsibility to make sure that everyone in the family is surviving, and not just the four of us. There's like a bunch of us cousins and like a huge family. So when it's just, I wouldn't say I worked hard at doing what I'm doing. I just worked hard at whatever I was doing. So then when opportunities started coming, it was picking or not picking, right place, right time, asking what I should do, try this out, what are the ethical boundaries you shouldn't cross, what kind of things you do. So there was a lot of, they say a village raises a child. Yeah, it was very similar. The village raises a kid.
But you just mentioned there's a big family. It's a huge family. You grew up in Delhi though.
Yeah.
But you're from Kerala.
Yeah.
And so your extended family is also in Delhi or in Kerala, or did you do a lot of like trips back home, summer holidays? Because I'm also like an expat Malu, so to speak. I grew up in the Gulf Malu, born and bred. And I would do a lot, like every summer holiday was back home with my extended family, like my godfather, my cousins, my grandparents and so on. So was that like a very similar sort of like story that you had?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Delhi, right? So I had lots of cousins in Delhi, lots of uncles and aunts, and a lot more in Kerala. So it's a very common thing when my grandmother wanted to call kids, she's like, Joy, and she's going through names till she's like, and then everyone pops in, it's like, you.
It's like it's nice that your grandmother would still call them by name. My grandmother just like da B. There's no names, like it's just, and whoever pops up is like, yes, you come.
Whoever comes, yeah.
From a very young age, you've been performing.
Yeah.
And that's been any sort of like, music, dance, mimicry, theatre.
Yeah. It's just that I think what a lot of people don't realize is that as one of the first performances I ever did in my life, right? When I was a little kid, my dad will just put me on stage because of fancy dress competitions. And that's what I had to do, such as this image, if you see. This is me at a fancy dress competition in church. So our church, right, is a parish. So you have a lot of competitions and stuff. We had a lot of talent competitions, singing, dancing, fancy dress, and
this is amazing. And who are you in this photo though?
I am Mr. India. So if you see, that's a rod, and in the old flush, I don't know if it's still there, when you flush that,
there's a suction cup inside.
So they put those two at the end. My parents put it in a rod, and it was very light. Oh yeah. Also, look at my size. I am a tiny boy in front of that.
No, I love how Abish in this photo is holding up the weight, but the weight is not in his hands. It's on the floor.
No, this was after I'll tell you what I did. Okay, I went on stage, and again, this is the first time I went on stage. So for me, I remember it almost not very clearly. It's a little.
How old were you when this photo was taken? I mean, when this happened?
This would be LKG, lower kindergarten or something, or not even.
Dude, you were a big kid for LKG.
Oh, then maybe it's like first or I don't know. I don't remember. I was a kid, okay? So I remember I had to go on stage and we practiced it at home. So my actions was I had to go there, I had to go do this, and then I have to pick this, and then I put it here, and then I will put it here, and then I will drop, and then I'll do this again. That's it. So this is either the beginning or the closing of that. Like, and that too wasn't like, see, as adults we do this. As a kid, I was doing this. Like, it's like, yay, I have hands, yay. Because I'm used to this as a kid, right? So when you do this, it's this. There's no concept of strength. There's like, Papa said, do this. And I went like, and they're like, okay.
Wait, so whose idea was this? Your mom's or your dad's? We'll dress him up as Mr. India, send him.
I think it was my dad's idea because everyone was playing. Someone was playing a priest. I have a lot of other images. I've played a priest. I've played a farmer. I've dressed as. I've done makeup half of one of a girl from here and then boy from here, and I've done a mono acting. So fancy dress and mono acting, my first performances. So it's like I'm talking to you, and then the girl will be like, I don't know what you're talking about. The guy will be like, oh, nothing. I was just asking how to do. And then, so yeah, I remember. So I used to do a lot of that in church stage.
Evidently, this was training you for a life of like different careers, like like priest, and like man, woman at the same time, Ardhanari, so to speak.
Yeah, it is different. But then performance-wise, anywhere there was a stage, my dad would put me on. Basically, if there was a stage, because again, as a kid, I didn't want to be on stage as much as when I went on stage, I really liked it. I remember in that image also when I saw, all I remember is people laughing and applauding, and I was like, this is great, because I do this in front of uncle aunts and they get annoyed, but in front of strangers the same annoying behavior is applauded. So I was like, maybe that's what I need to do, surround myself with strangers and truly be myself.
Basically, you got that rush from a very young age, and then you've been chasing that ever since.
Yeah. That is true.
Your parents, your dad and mom, do they perform as well? Like,
my dad is so afraid of public speaking that a man who has no stammering starts stammering. Okay, my mom. So my dad's side of the family has some talent. Not like they're not economically very well-to-do, not very well educated in the back in the day. That's from like from Alleppey, Mama's from Pala. Obviously, they had a little bit of education, but you know how Kerala setup was. It's not city; these are villages and towns.
Yeah. You have to go outside to make your money.
Correct.
There's no
my paternal grandfather used to be a playwright, is what I've heard. And my mom's side, everyone has singing, dancing, some talent or the other. Good, bad, I can't tell because...
But there is that performance gene is there.
Like, yes, 100% the performance gene is there. I don't know if it's genetic as much as failed hopes and aspirations of an entire generation of people who wanted to do.
Generations,
down to like,
multiple generations.
Like, so when my brother's a dancer. So he started off dancing, but dancing didn't have as much economic strength, so he had to quit and started the call center. But then similarly for me, I was like, I'll take up a call center. I'm pretty good at speaking, so I will become a trainer very soon. From there, I'll become a manager very soon, consultant, and then I'll be. So that was the life.
You're the elder brother or the younger? You're the younger brother, and the elder brother is a dancer, and he used to. And does he still dance or like?
No. He quit that because there wasn't too much. He's a professional dancer. So Pinaz Misani for Anamika. No, this way before Anamika.
Oh, okay.
He's 79 born.
Okay.
This is
90s would have been his early 90s.
Would have been his. Yeah, I would say that like that's the time where he used to dance. So he used to do so much. So every time I perform, he would get excited and train me for dancing, for debating. Like he would be like, do it properly. And then I was just like, I just want to have fun. But he's such a good trainer, so to speak. And my mom.
He's a professional.
Yeah, all three of them became like these training coaches. So I was very happy being on stage. What I did on stage, it didn't matter. It's just that being on stage, I really liked. So initially it was mono acting and fancy dress. Then music, Sir Norman from school was an integral, like not the integral, he's my music dad, so to speak. So he pushed me. So what people liked is what happened is that the childhood in schools and churches, I got a lot of confidence to be on stage. I mean, there was also stage fear, but then that fear was now stage excitement and that, pre-stage jitters, but they weren't termed as fears anymore. That confidence is what I brought in school. So when I moved from my school in 5th grade to another school, Father Agner, at that time, this confidence was there, and children there weren't as confident. I went on stage and did that half and half, and people were first year in school. I did it because I won the mono acting.
That's insane that you're walking with this confidence. You're the new kid in school. How did you not get bullied?
I full blinders. I don't either narcissistic or too self-absorbed, or for that matter, the opinion of the strangers didn't matter, because at that time parents were saying yes. Who's your biggest authority in your life?
That's very true. I mean, so like when you said family support, it's not like beta jo bhi karna hai karo. They were actively there, dressing you up, putting makeup on, taking you to performances, putting you on stage.
They were like, you do this and do it, and
this is your agenda for today.
Yeah, say it this way, try it this way, do it this way, and all of that.
So when you're a kid and like you've ended up doing all these things, what did you want to be when you saw yourself as older? Like, I mean, performing, yes, but like, was there a specific genre? Did you ever see stand-up? Or for that matter, did you ever see yourself hosting your own show when you were an adult?
To be honest, I didn't want to make money out of performance. I just wanted to go every night and perform. I work at a call center. I find happiness anywhere.
But somehow, like, Netflix and Amazon just giving him money saying, hey, you come into a talk show. He's like, no, I just let me be like, hello, sir, can I help you today? I'm tech support.
Yeah. I don't know. That maybe is my final ambition, right? The final thing is to literally be like, hello, we're just trying to find out if you paid the bill, because if you haven't, we're coming for you. We're coming for you. We're coming for you. Sorry, ma'am. Please don't review me badly. Bye-bye. Maybe that's what I want to do. Each person is an opportunity for a joke, and they'll be like, what?
But you've actually worked at a call center for a little bit, though.
A very interesting story is that because my brother worked at a call center, started making like 25K, which I was like, 25,000 as a salary is insane. Yeah. Family's gonna get rich. I used to, as a kid, calculate money according to how many chicken rolls can I buy at a nearby kebab shop. So I knew 25 rupees ka kebab roll. So if someone says I'm getting getting $100 for this one job, then I'm like, charge. So when that happened, I was like, I applied during my first year, because again, school, you have no time to do anything. College, at the end of first year, I worked with Babush Santana. He's a legendary jazz player who's no more, but then they were doing some theater stuff for kids, and then I auditioned somewhere, my music teacher connected somewhere. I traveled with them to Bombay for the first time and to Chandigarh. So I knew what it was to travel for a show collective. Like, other people are on stage, you're just doing sound effects and singing or something. So when I experienced that, I was like, oh, this is a big production. This is what a production happens. So for me, I think that gave me a taste of what a bigger production could be like. And then I think in college, when you have time, which is when you have that summer holiday, you want to make quick money. So you're like, I'll join a call center and make that quick money. Then luckily, I don't know why, from where, someone who I met once did a favor to somewhere, paid off by someone calling me that there is a radio internship opportunity at Radio 1, no money. And I'm like, yes. Don't care. It's radio. I would love to see how the world works. So the one thing that I would say is that I was very, very curious in the sense, just I want to see how things work. And when I go there, once I learn that one small thing that is there that nobody else can do, then you made a niche instead of learning what other people have done and try to become like them. I was like, wo to tum karo, wo to ye karo, isme ye karo. Coffee koi nahi la raha hai. Maybe I can bring the coffee at least. Similarly, in radio, no one was doing OBJ. It was called Out Broadcast Jockey, which is somebody takes a task cam, goes to different parts and say, kal Republic Day, uske baare mein kya bolna hai? Aapko iske baare mein kya bolna hai? Just across the city. Then you bring the data file. They will edit you out and only keep the clips, which the radio morning jockey will be like, today we have with us, and they'll play the clip. So I was the guy who was receiving this, and I interned for a month, which turned to 3 months, turned to a year, and they really took to me and took so much, like they worked with me, that they felt kind of bad taking advantage, that this kid is not realizing that he's been taken for granted and he's just doing, because I was just really excited, right? Opportunity over cost. And
so for a year you worked at this radio station with no pay, no nothing, and you were just going and being
that's what
go
you would
getter.
think it's work. I would think it's learning. Here's one thing that I would want to tell is that my parents never put any pressure on education on me. Zero. They themselves, like my dad, he's not like, he's done his 10th pass and then he's worked. He used to go underwater, collect prawns and fisher family, right? Fisherman family, or whatever job comes, you'll pick up. Mom learned nursing, general nursing, went to Muscat. And she worked in Lucknow, so they were all service people. The thing is, again, stand-up comedy is a tag you can use for me now. Because before this, the tag was radio jockey. Before that was a guy hosting mall MC jobs.
Yeah.
I used to do a lot of mall MC jobs. Like radio will send me like, idhar aao, gift chahiye aapko, main gift deta hu, throw t-shirts and they would get them just to be here so that the clients can take a photograph and say, oh, 10 log hai, like that.
So you spent a lot of time performing in school, at church events and so on. What about the classroom? Were you in class or were you just out performing all the time?
No. I'm not. I was in class, but I had like a note in my diary that said that basically I had 100% attendance because my father I would go to school every day, whether I'm ill. I think now when I look back, it is unethical on my dad's side that I had flu, but he still sent me. Even though my mom is a medical professional, she was like, my child will not miss a school. Because that's the thing. I'll be very honest, I didn't score very well in school at all from the beginning. My parents' expectation was also pass ho jana. And then it was like, it's tough to tell people that you're 50. Can you get to like
60 is decent.
60 means that maybe there was a family crisis and he still survived. Because if there was no crisis, he would have gotten 90. Because I remember one very stark moment in my life where I used to get 80 till like class 4 or something. Or class 3, I don't know. And and class 5, I told my dad, he said, what do you get if you get like above 80? I said, I want a He-Man. So my dad was like, okay. So without checking my results, he bought a He-Man for me, okay? And then he came and then the news, I got 54, okay? So now he's already bought it and he's like, it's not like gradual decrease. It was like, yeah, it's just completely went away. So it was a shock for them also to absorb. I must say it was a point where my dad was also, should we? I bought it. I'm not gonna play with it. I mean, it's what can you do now? I have not done any of it alone, which is why I feel very awkward when someone says I'm a huge fan of you. I'm like, are you a huge fan of this person? Because of that, I put up a reel.
You are a very blessed person. Your parents were like just your teachers were also like, dude, you just pass. Uske baad mono act karna, but exam bhi likh dena, but then we have mimicry also. So let's do all of it.
When someone says something related to how much I had to work hard, I'm like, the only control I have in my thing is to work hard. I can only work hard. So what a research does is allows you to really understand so that when you're in the flow of conversation, you have like a drone vision of the room, the context, what has happened outside in the world, what kind of an impact could it come. You're not obsessed about how did the punchline go. Then what happens is then your eyes turn inwards into your brain trying to remember and you start doing this. So the way I like to do those is that I like to say it out loud so many times that it becomes like music. Because again, I come from a music background. So I know what it is to remember lyrics that you don't understand. Because the lyrics are now just any gibberish, but you're feeling the song, the vibe, the audience. So I do that with comedy as well, which is why written punchlines for me, like I had to write it, memorize it. So it better be, ek baar memorize ho gaya na, it'll be damn tough to forget the flow of the punchline. because it's.
But I mean, you still have to perform it also, no, to see how it works. I mean, what do you do there? Like, I mean, when you go back, you rewrite, then you memorize that again, then you bring it out.
That's why I like being more on the fly on stage and figure what comes out and then workshop it. Because when I sit and write a joke, it's super critical. But when you're on stage, your gut is activated and you're literally hearing the laughter, figuring what's working.
You're getting validation in real time, right? I mean, this works, this doesn't work. No matter how funny you think it is, it's not funny. Right?
It's what I call cognitive overload, by the way, which is something that I genuinely feel a lot of people should consciously empower, which is if you want to do something, consume a lot of that. Because as human beings, we are very good at pattern recognition instinctively, like from our tadpole selves to us. So what happens is that in that pattern recognition, without you realizing, you start talking, you start thinking, you start doing things like that. Which is why personally, I don't watch like, Mirzapur or Telecrime, very good shows, but very intense shows. I don't need more intensity in my life. I have enough intensity in my life. I want to watch something light. And then that's just how I like to do it, because I know I'm very easily influenced.
So Devika did like this pre-interview with you, and she told me something very interesting, that you used to make your own toys growing up.
Rubber band! You told him about rubber band! So what is the most abundant thing? Rubber band. Food comes, rubber band. Newspaper, rubber band. So you just do it with your teeth, cut it, and now you have two small hands, two long legs, so you can fight and you can do. Then I flipped it and I made it like an orangutan man, which is like with the orangutan, if I touch it, effect goes there. Then like Spider-Man, it goes there. It doesn't matter the toy, it's the story you're telling. The second thing which I enjoyed was, if I'm in a moving train, I'll take my finger and like whatever is happening, I'll go like, because the train is moving, right? Yeah, this you've done. So then if you don't even have that, I used to do this a lot, which is like, and then there in slow motion, there's a difference between playing and watching someone else play. Because see, the thing is, even till today, if I'm doing this, I'm like, and it's the sound effects you're making, it's the world you're creating with a silly thing, and that I still like doing. So I don't get bored easy, which is why, like, if you keep me in, it's just great.
But thanks so much, Abish. This has been so much fun. Thank you guys for tuning in for Tinkle Meets a Dash. This time we met a talk show host who is also an RJ, who is also a fancy dress veteran, who also makes his own toys and is a potential musician in the works. So thank you so much for watching. Do come back soon for our very next episode, and that's it from our end. Thank you again.